Ladies, gentlemen, degenerates, winners, and losers, welcome into the video. This is our DraftKings NFL Week 4 Sleepers, Studs, and Stacks. If you're coming back because we had a big week last week and you stumbled across the channel previously, drop a thumbs up. If you're brand new here, please take 2 seconds if you enjoy the video at any time. It really does help out immensely, and I really do appreciate it. It helps us do some of the giveaways that we're able to do. So this is NFL Week 4 of the 2021 season. I'm excited. Had a good breakfast, ate a little bit of cold pizza, have my coffee here. I got my water, my nutrition. That's all you need for a good breakfast to keep the brain right to make the best predictions and projections possible. Now, as we mentioned, we had a very good week last week. So if you're coming back, dude, please just drop a thumbs up. Let everyone know, hey, we are the real deal sometimes, okay? Sometimes. We had Stafford Cup mixed up in there, DeAndre Swift, who I think has been underpriced all year, Mike Williams, Arizona Cardinals we talked about as one of our defenses. One of our defenses. I don't know what I just said, but here's the lineup. You can take a look for yourself. Matt Stafford, Austin Eckler, DeAndre Swift put up 197 points. This is something that we kind of alluded to over on Patreon, patreon.com/Allaqcess Sports. That is down in the description below, where we will be giving you our starting 5 and then kind of a pool of players. It typically comes out to be a quarterback, a running back, 2 wide receivers, and sometimes that flex position or the defense that we're really honing in on. And then a pool of players that we're considering for the other positions. That way you can make your own decisions, because we really do want you to make your own decision. I say we, as the Allaqcess brand, we want you to make your own decisions, because it's no fun just copy and pasting what everyone else does. Use all the projections, use all the predictions, find all the YouTube videos that you want. Make your own decision, but I'm going to let you know what we're doing. So for those that go above and beyond in support of the brand, that's what I want to do, is be completely transparent so that you know exactly what we're doing. Okay, I know you're here for the sleepers, so let's go ahead and get into it. The sleepers, aka the value plays. These are the guys that are under $5,500. There's not as much value now that we're in week 4. The pricing has become much more clear with most of the players on the slate. So even though there is some value to be found, it's a little bit harder to come by. I think there's a real pocket of players around the $5,000 to $6,000 range for wide receivers, which I'm really going to be focusing on. But those running backs are hard to come by now that we are multiple weeks into the season. So we're going to kick things off with Robbie Anderson at $5,100 against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I really am impressed with the Dallas Cowboys defense. I think Dan Quinn has done a phenomenal job of getting them turned around, okay? Michael Parsons coming off the edge, brilliant. He hasn't been a typical edge rusher since like high school or something like that. So he's doing very, very good. They have a good pass rush. I don't think Trayvon Diggs is going to be matched up with Robbie Anderson, who is the cornerback that scares me the most in this game. Panthers probably playing from behind. As you can see, I am a Panthers fan, so hold off. But I think he's going to see an uptick in, as many people think, he's going to see a increase in target share because Christian McCaffrey is gone. I think Robbie Anderson at $5,100 could be in line for a big game if that O-line can hold up against the Dallas defensive pass rush. All right, time to speed things up a little bit. Christian Kirk, $5,300 against the LA Rams. He's been seeing 6 targets a game. He's not going to see Ramsey. That's, of course, going to be DeAndre Hopkins. Saw a huge uptick with Hopkins' rib injury last week. I expect for that to continue. A pick that you're going to see more popular throughout the weekend as the news of Julio Jones and A.J. Brown not being in the Tennessee Titans lineup comes up. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. $3,200 against the New York Jets. Also look at the way of Josh Reynolds and Fursker, the tight end there. But he had the highest snap count of all the Tennessee replacements in week 3. That's Chester Rogers, who plays out of the slot, and Josh Reynolds, who's going to be that wide receiver 2 this week. Logan Thomas at $4,900 against Atlanta. Now, we've been talking about this all year. All of your favorite YouTubers have been talking about this all year. Every projection sheet that you look at has talked about this all year. Atlanta Falcons defense is not very good over the middle against pass-catching running backs, tight ends, and slot receivers. I don't know what it is, but they struggle in coverage over the middle, and they give up a lot of passes. Logan Thomas is a guy that's going to go across the middle and make some of those quick outlet throws and catches for Taylor Heineke. I expect him to have a decent game. I think there's a lot of tight ends, actually, that are going to have a good game. You'll see that down in the more to watch at the bottom of the slide. Marquise Brown, $5,400 against Denver. I know, 3 really tough drops last week. 2 of them, specifically, should have been touchdowns. I think he's going to bounce back. Lamar is going to have to continue to look the way of Marquise Hollywood Brown. And at $5,400 against Denver, I like that play a lot. I know everyone talks about the Panthers defense being overrated. Some people are talking about the Denver Broncos defense being overrated. Denver Broncos have played teams that are combined 0-9 on the season. I believe it's the Jaguars, the Jets, and the Giants, if I'm not mistaken. Not really the offensive superpower that you're going to see from the Ravens and the game plans that they put together. So I think Marquise Brown could be in line for a big game. And then finally, Tim Patrick in that same game across the street, $4,900 against Baltimore, who's 30th in the league in pass yards given up. Teddy Bridgewater leads the league in air yards somehow, some way. Not really sure how that happens. But no KJ Hamler, no Jerry Jeudy, banged up Melvin Gordon, who does look like he is going to be playing. For those of you looking at Javonte Williams, there's a couple of decent wide receiver options here, but I think Tim Patrick is going to be the best option in a play from behind game. Under more to watch, Zach Wilson, take that lightly with a grain of salt. This is probably going to be his best game of the season. By no means does that mean that I'm playing him or have a real interest in him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he puts up 18 points, which puts you up at around that 3.5 times per $1,000 spent. Running backs, Trey Sermon, $5,000. And that comes with the caveat of if Elijah Mitchell does not play. It sounds like he is fighting through a lot of pain. He could play. If he does, obviously we don't want anything of Trey Sermon. Nyheim Hines, kind of in that same category. If Jonathan Taylor's out, going up against the Miami Dolphins, Nyheim Hines is a strong play for me. Another Indianapolis Colt, Michael Pittman Jr., $5,400 against Miami. He's getting a wide receiver one target share. He just unfortunately has not found the end zone this year. I think he had 9 targets last game, something around there. He's had double digits in the past. They don't have very many options there. Mo Allaqcess probably is the number one threat to his targets. But if he could find himself in the end zone, that would be fantastic. Corey Davis against Tennessee, mentioned it earlier. I expect them to be playing from behind. New York Jets, a lot of passing. Corey Davis in a revenge game, so to speak. $5,000. I'm not afraid to take the chance, but the one I love even more at the same exact price point is Brandon Ayuk from the San Francisco 49ers. He is the best wide receiver on that team, without a doubt. I know early on in the season, he had the hamstring injury, which made a lot of people pull him away. If you remember week 1, we said, listen, this is our favorite play. Then he came up with the hamstring injury. I'm ready to get back on that train. I think Seattle Seahawks are going to put up a lot of points. A lot of people think they're going to put up a lot of points. That means you're going to have to do something other than run the ball, especially with Elijah Mitchell already banged up. Your running back room has been banged up all year. Brandon Ayuk, I look for him to have a decent game. Tight ends, roll through these very quickly. Dawson Knox against Houston, a very good matchup for him. Tommy Tremble with Dan Arnold gone from Carolina, who just traded him to the Jacksonville Jaguars, could be in line for a good game. And then Will Dissly at $2,600 against San Francisco. Gerald Everett out with COVID-19 protocol. So if he is the starter, I actually love that play. Go back and look at his week 1 stats when Gerald Everett was coming off an injury, I believe. And now our studs for week 4 of the 2021 season. And these are the top tier guys. And you'll say, Bradley, there is a lot of wide receivers on here. Yeah, there are a lot of wide receivers, but look at the price point that we're going to get to in the more to watch down below. Devontae Adams is probably my favorite wide receiver play of the week. 18 targets in week 3. He put up 34 points. And his price drops a little bit. Pittsburgh is bottom 3 in the league in passing touchdowns, yards, and Draftkings points given up to wide receivers. I really like Devontae Adams in this spot. Another one that's garnering a lot of interest from people is Tyreek Hill at $8,000 against the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think Philadelphia was really able to get a strong pass rush. I know they had a couple of sacks in that game, but it wasn't like a sustained amount of pass rush given up against the Cowboys. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have plenty of time to operate from back there. Tyreek Hill, $8,000 against Philadelphia, could really hurt them on some of these double moves. Favorite running back play of the week, Derrick Henry, $8,800. I believe he is going to be one of the chalkiest plays, especially with A.J. Brown and Julio Jones going down. Derrick Henry, I believe the over-under on him is 110 rushing yards. I think he smashes through that, as well as a couple of touchdowns. They're ranked 25th in DraftKings points against running back. They're not giving up a lot of yards. If you look at the stats, the Jets are not giving up a lot of yards, but they are giving up a ton of points, which means receptions to running backs and touchdowns to running backs. Derrick Henry at $8,800 in a phenomenal spot. Not sure if I can afford to put him in my lineup. Antonio Gibson, pending his health, $6,100 against the Atlanta Falcons. A fantastic pass catching back against Atlanta. Sign me up. We've said this week in and week out. If he is injured, J.D. McKissick is a formidable replacement for a much cheaper price. And not enough people are talking about this one. Aaron Rodgers at $6,800 against Pittsburgh. I already talked about how Pittsburgh has struggled in the passing game. TJ Watt is back, which does give them a little bit of a boost. But your cornerbacks are still your cornerbacks. Aaron Rodgers, $6,800 against Pittsburgh. Averaging 2 touchdowns a game. I think you're going to see an uptick in that this week. Aaron Rodgers, not enough people are talking about because you have Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes. You have a lot of really good quarterbacks on this slate. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to fly under the radar. Mentioning one of those quarterbacks in Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, $7,600 against Houston. He's averaging 10 targets a game and leads the league in deep ball looks. He has a 30%, actually like a 28% target share of the passes that are attempted by Josh Allen. Just hasn't found the end zone enough for us. Stephon Diggs at $7,700 is in line for a very big game and probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, wide receiver play of the week. More to watch. You'll see there is a lot of wide receivers down here. We'll continue to finalize this and condense this player pool over on Patreon, as well as in that late bloomers report that we put out on Patreon. And then over on Facebook, you'll get it about 30 minutes before kickoff this week. More to watch. Josh Allen, $8,000 against Houston. A home run spot. DeAndre Swift, $6,200 against Chicago. Whether they're ahead, behind, or tied, DeAndre Swift is going to get the ball. He's getting healthier. I know it still has that questionable tag against him. It is that groin injury. He's been playing through it every single week, but he says he feels better. The coaching staff says he looks better. So he's finally healthy, coming off of his best game of the year. Chuba Hubbard, make no mistake, am a Panthers fan. I don't love this play as much as the projections show, but if the projections are showing that he is going to have a good game, then he should have a good game. About 15 touches, probably 3 or 4 receptions out of the backfield at $5,900 against Dallas, who is giving up, I believe, almost 3 yards of rushing before contact is made. Carolina Panthers offensive line does struggle in the pass game, but they are very good rushing offensive line. Should give him plenty of holes to operate. Chuba Hubbard at $5,900 against the Dallas Cowboys is a great spot. And Nick Chubb, $7,000 against Minnesota. One of my favorite running back plays of the week, especially if you do need to pivot down from Derrick Henry. No reason these 3 backs shouldn't find a sniff into your lineups if you're putting together a lot of lineups. If you're only putting together 1 or 2, it is a nice price dip from the $8,800 against the New York Jets. I expect Derrick Henry to get 28 points, 25 points. It's not unheard of for him, but that $8,000 price tag is a bit steep for me because I want to save up for the wide receivers. A lot of people are talking about Calvin Ridley finally having his breakout game against Washington. Washington defense looked horrible last week against Buffalo. It could be there. Probably not playing him in my lineup, but putting that out there. Justin Jefferson against a bad Cleveland defensive back situation, $7,300. DK Metcalf, I like even more, $7,200 against San Francisco. I like any wide receiver that's going up against San Francisco because they don't really have a bunch of defensive backs to play with anymore. There's a lot of injuries that have happened back there. DK Metcalf has improved his route running. He's a very good wide receiver. He continues to get a lot of looks, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. DJ Moore. A lot of people are saying that DJ Moore is one of their favorite plays because he was only a $6,600 price tag. As mentioned, I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. I don't love him this week, okay? I think Trayvon Diggs is going to be there. I think he's going to have a little bit of a tougher time against Trayvon Diggs than he has had against other defensive backs this early in the season. Cowboys will address the situation. If CMC is not there, DJ Moore is their main concern. Focus on slowing him down. I'm more interested in Robbie Anderson and Terrace Marshall Jr. and Chuba Hubbard. Odell Beckham against Minnesota. You've got Brashad Breeland, Patrick Peterson. It's a couple old guys. Minnesota Vikings have been very vulnerable to the pass. I believe they're dead last in the league in passer rating. So Odell Beckham Jr. against Minnesota, $5,800. He looked very good last week. No reason for that to change. And then CeeDee Lamb against Carolina. Waiting for the final report to come out exactly how the Carolina Panthers are going to be playing this, but if they're putting Dante Jackson on Amari Cooper, that means probably A.J. Boye and their replacement safety who's coming in for Justin Burris will be doubling up on CeeDee Lamb or zoning CeeDee Lamb. So I think CeeDee Lamb can find those little places just to kind of hunker down and find an opening in the zone. I think he's going to have plenty of targets in this one. And only because we haven't mentioned the tight ends, Travis Kelce, and then George Kittle, who's in a very good spot at $5,900 against Seattle Seahawks. George Kittle, I really like, but there is plenty of value at the tight end position. Now, some of those stacks that we talked about, just to give yourself a good foundation. A lot of people like to play a stack and then run it back on the other side of the ball. Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders. Gave you plenty of points last week. No reason not to look that way again this week. And run it back with Brandon Cooks, who is apparently the only guy that can catch the ball for the Houston Texans anyway. Buffalo Bills, a very strong stack. Carolina Panthers and the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of people are very interested in this game, whether it's Dak, CeeDee, Amari, or Dak, CeeDee, and Zeke, who is getting a lot of mentions in the press right now. You can look at the other side of the ball for a little bit cheaper. Carolina Panthers, Darnold, Chuba Hubbard, Robbie Anderson, and maybe you do want to play DJ Moore. I don't like it as much, but I don't think that Dallas defense is excellent. They are very good. They are improving, but the Carolina Panthers are going to have to throw the ball. Chuba Hubbard out of the backfield is going to get some receptions, and Robbie Anderson should have plenty of looks in this one. A little bit pricier. Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, but that low-priced, near minimum value, Will Dissly at the tight end position. A nice play, run it back with Brandon Ayuk. And then finally, Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham. I think both of these guys are very, very, very underpriced this week. If I'm not stacking these two, I at least probably am interested in Odell Beckham at that price range to be put in there. And then obviously with the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, extremely interested in playing those two. And your defenses, just to let you know where my mind's kind of at, the Bills, the Saints, the Panthers, and the Colts. People, again, I know, the Panthers, you think, Bradley, they're going up against the Dallas Cowboys. You already said that that's a very good offense. They're going to be putting up points. I agree. I see no reason why the Dallas Cowboys shouldn't put up 24 points in this game. However, Dak Prescott sacked 4 times last week against Philadelphia. Panthers lead the league in sacks. Panthers have not had a lot of turnovers this year, but I think that could change this week with Dak Prescott being under so much pressure from the number one pressuring defense in the league. So sacks, turnovers, and touchdowns are king in this one. I think they'll come up with a couple of a couple of interceptions and sacks to offset the amount of points that they're going to give up for a little bit of a price dip, but the Colts is probably where I'm leaning. And that's going to do it for this video. Just a few more notes. You always want to aim for 4 times points per $1,000 spent. $5,000 player, you want potential 15 to 20 points. $5K wide receiver range is a sweet spot of talent. Robbie Anderson, Odell Beckham, amongst others. Really focusing in on that place to save me a little bit of money. Top end running backs, I think you're going to have to go maybe that second tier, $7,000 range. But you can really save at the tight end position. If you liked anything that I said in this video, if you agree with anything, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video. We come out with these videos every single week to try and put you in a better position to beat those people that are able to put together 150 lineups, because I can't afford it because I'm a broke boy, just like you probably are. So, like the video, comment, let me know where I'm wrong, let me know where you're looking. Maybe there's something that I missed. I'm always willing to talk about it. I want to talk about it. Find me on Twitter if you need to, at Brad M. Lee, or find the entire group on Twitter, at Allaqcess CLT. Would love to talk to you there. Hopefully the next time that I see you is in the green.